الحياة من الصحاب ومن يأمنك يا دنيا الدواهي تدوسين
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zion Khan, and my question is about time management. So, how did the Prophet advise the Sahabas about time management, and like what hadiths are there for teenagers and children about time management?
It's not just hadiths, but ayahs as well. Okay, so a Muslim. Okay, you know it's not just the Muslims, even in the Bible as well. So human beings have been advised from day one that if you want to turn out to be sloths, sloths. You know what a sloth is? In England, everyone knows what a sloth is. When we call a human being a sloth, what do we mean? We mean our kids these days. Myra? Moimin? What's your name, sorry?
Zion.
Zion, how old are you? 14? Yeah. So, you see, there is a certain type of a hormone in the brain which is there so that you can manage time. Okay? And if you ruin the chemistry, especially mommies, if you break that clock inside a child's brain, then do not blame the child, even though you will be blamed, I'm telling you. But we do it to our own kids, and then they oversleep, and they procrastinate, and they're lethargic, and they're always in bed, always in their bedrooms, and you're thinking what's going on in there or what's going on in there. It's not going to work, okay? This is something which we really need to understand. Fajr prayer is a mandatory event. You do not do that, it is the biggest sin. Biggest sin. Zion, right? So Prophet said, if there is only one difference between a kafir and a mu'min, it's the salah. Okay? It's the absolute difference, the salah. That means if you leave Fajr, then you're done, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? So Fajr is the prayer which sets the exact day for the whole Muslim. Okay? Now there's an 8 o'clock club, there's a 6 o'clock club, there's a 7 o'clock club in America where all of these corporate billionaires, they just try and boast and show off that they wake up at 6. Okay? And there's a club. You actually, you enlist in that club. They're corporate CEOs, You know when Fajr is today? Tomorrow? When is Fajr tomorrow?
Jummah time or start time?
Did you just Fajr, man?
Jummah time?
No, the sunrise.
Sunrise, 6 something.
Mm-hmm.
He's asking what is Jummah time?
I got it. That's why I used the word sunrise, so that.
Oh no.
Basically, he actually goes to the mosque.
I know. He's trying to do the maths right now. Yeah.
6. That's my.
Sunrise?
Sunrise is before 6, Jamaat is 6.
Oh, okay.
No, it cannot be. The other way around. The Jamaat cannot be after the sunrise. So you know what I'm talking about. When the sun rises, you cannot pray Fajr anymore, right?
Oh yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
So before the sun rises, a Muslim has to be super active, right?
Yeah.
So we were time managers by faith, by belief. We cannot be asleep when the sun, before the sunrise. If the sun rises before a Muslim, the Prophet said that's the difference between a kafir and a Muslim. Since a prayer is the difference between a kafir and a mu'min, right? Salah is the difference. Fajr is the salah. That's first. That's one. Number two, you got to make sure that you time your prayer in wastal waqt. Wastal waqt, you know what that means? And the prime time of the prayer. There's a prime time of every prayer. A prayer, when it's in the central time of the prayer. For example, 90 minutes for Fajr in Islam, right? When the sun rises, you cannot pray Fajr. So 90 minutes before the sunrise is Fajr time. Okay? When the sun sets, it's 90 minutes for Maghrib, right? So I hope in England you do take 90 minutes for Maghrib. Because in Pakistan we take 10. After 10 minutes, people pray Qaza for Maghrib. So shameful that Muslims in Pakistan are so ignorant that they actually pray Qaza because someone told somebody, nobody ever read anything about it, and somebody told somebody, and somebody is actually now praying, 10 minutes ho gaye, so Maghrib Qaza ho gayi. The sun takes the exact same time to rise, same sun, same earth, so it's going to take the same time to set. So if it is 90 minutes for Fajr, it has to be 90 minutes for Maghrib, right? So you cannot sleep before Asr and Maghrib. It's prohibited in Islam by the Prophet ﷺ. You cannot sleep between Asr and, if you have to sleep in the evening, after Maghrib is allowed. Okay, but not after Asr. You get it? And you can sleep after Zuhr. Okay, at least recommended for a power nap. Okay? So I'm just telling you how to, because when you see that a religion is telling you when to wake up, have to wake up. There's no choice. You cannot put your own self under a new policy that, I'm exempt from Fajr. No one is exempt from Fajr. You get it? So you got to wake up before the sun, and you cannot sleep while the sun is setting, way before the sun is setting, because after Asr. And then you got to be up for Isha as well. You get it? So your chemical is called melatonin. What's it called? M-E-L, melatonin. Melatonin is a sleep hormone. If the melatonin you can control, which I'll tell you how later today, don't worry, then you can set your own alarm clock. I do, millions of people do that, okay? That if you tell yourself when to wake up, you're going to wake up at that time. You don't need an alarm clock because the melatonin works under your own conscious brain's instructions. Whenever you know that you have to wake up, you're going to wake up at that time. Why I'm talking about sleep, I mean, even though you asked about time management, okay? Because when you say Islam, does it actually, is time management a thing in Islam? Oh no, it's not just a thing. It's just about everything. Because we start our every day for at a certain time. We cannot do certain things. We cannot sleep at certain times, and we have to wake up at certain times. Okay? And then the whole 24-hour cycle is regulated by a Muslim's, own chemistry, and he puts himself to work whenever he has to work. And then if he can sleep during the day, after Zohar, he can for a bit, but he cannot sleep for 2, 3, 4 hours because he cannot sleep after Asr and Maghrib, right? So if it's Asr time, you cannot sleep. So you cannot. Islam is actually getting you out of this sloth status and going into a very active, actually proactive status. Before the human beings or any animal is going to wake up, a Muslim is up before the sunrise, right? So we are all about time management. It is not just an option, it is mandatory. It is mandatory. The second thing, under time management, which you'll learn because you're 14, people who work, they know that a Muslim, if he commits to even let's just say 5:55, I'm going to be done by 6, I'm going to meet you at 2. If he commits something, and if he does not put that commitment within that time, he's out of Islam. Okay? The Prophet said a mu'min can be everything, anything but a cheat. Because if he commits, he's got to follow through. If he does not, he's not a Muslim. A mu'min can be anyone but a guy who breaks his commitment. So that's coupled with what I'm talking about in chapter 1 of the answer. You see these two things and you'll find out, is there anything else we expect from other human beings in the world? No, we don't. So you honor your word. Whenever you have to fulfill something at whatever time, you got to be so accurate. And then you're not a sloth. Okay? Now, I can go into subcategories. I don't want to. I hope you got the answer of, because you asked me if there's a hadith. Yeah, not just hadith. There's ayahs about this. Okay? Now, tell me, how many hours are you sleeping every day? Let me break a little myth, Huda. There's a myth flying around for about 100 years. I'm going to break this myth to Islam. How many hours do you sleep?
Roughly 8.
Yeah, because somebody actually said 80 is a number. Okay, 80 is a number attached to sleep for the last 100 years. Of course, it's less than that, but there's books about this. Okay, it's a myth. At 14, mommies, please listen. Before seventh year of a human child, 7th year, okay, 7th year. Before the 7th, if the child is asleep for 20 hours, do not wake him or her up. You're not supposed to wake your child up. You're not supposed to put your child to sleep. Human child is supposed to wake the mommy up. We do it the other way around. Children are supposed to wake the mommies, not the other way around. Okay? You know what that means? Human body of a child sets the clock for the chemistry to be set inside the brain. We wake up our children because we think, it's breakfast time. That's not for kids under 7. They sleep for 12. Of course, they're not going to sleep for 20 hours. It's just a figure of speech, right? So they oversleep. No, they're not oversleeping. Their body is actually, the brain is developing while they're asleep. You're stopping that process yourself because if you want to intervene through diet or whatever you want to feed him or you want to send him to play something, no. His body is the boss or her body is the boss before 7. After 11, you're going to force him to wake up like the way I just told you. Okay, Fajr, Zohar, okay? That's why there is the only difference between a Muslim and a Kafir is what? Salah. But there is no question for Salah for a kid who's under 7. You get it? And even if he's under 12, it's not going to be a question because he's not a baligh right now. He's not of age. He's not an adult. So if God is not going to question about something, that means that the test is not upon him. But if we put him through that test, then we are actually playing with the system. Okay? So if I see a machine and I try and play with that machine myself, then if it does not perform according to the potential of the machine or the manual of the machine compared to other machines, then it's my fault. It's not the machine's fault. right? So that's why you see differential in performance of kids in the same household. And then you start thinking, you know, one of my kids was born dumb. Baap pe gaya. Yeah, that's not it. You did it. One is more intelligent, one is less intelligent. No. You're playing with the machine. The IQ drops 12 points or raises 12 points in the first 5 years. By just what? Sleep routines, physical routines, and everything else. It was that simple. The hardware. We shrunk the hardware by what? मुझे गर्मी लग रही है तो बच्चे ने भी स्वेटर पहनना है. सर्दी लग रही है तो. मुझे ठंड लग रही है. मुझे गर्मी लग रही है. I take the kids' clothes off as well. Kids are going to do every single thing based on their body. Mommies are going to do every single thing based on the auntie. The body should tell us, not the next door neighbor or whatever. Why am I talking to them? You know that, right? Because we're not there. But we should be aware of what's, because it's our kids they're dumbing down, right? It's not just anybody else. And they are dumbing them down. And that's the problem. So first 3 years, this is how they say it in psychology now. 5 fingers, 5 points on the IQ. 5 fingers, 5 points on the IQ. 5 toes, Myra, 5 points on the IQ. And since they're 10 toes, 10 points. So 20 points on the IQ. Look at me. That's how they teach you. The 10 fingers, 10 toes. The more this child is going to move these 10 hands and legs, 20 points on the IQ. But he's not going to move them. He's not going to be able to get those 20 points on the IQ. You know what an IQ is, Myra? The only real difference between two human beings is the IQ. This is how important IQ is. You cannot compete with a guy who's smarter than you. I'm sorry. He has to perform better. Okay, but I'll show you what IQ actually does to human beings. High IQ is the biggest gift that mom and dad can give to a child. We all know that. Okay, all the people who've ever made it only have one thing in common. I'm talking about money or leadership or whatever. They have the same IQ. 120 plus, 110 plus, that's it. And we have 20 points on the IQ in the first 3 years, and we never let him move his ductiles, legs and arms. Why? Myra, we stuff them in duffels and I don't know what because it's too cold in London. And the child is like a penguin, moving like this. He's got to move his elbows and his knees, and that's how brain is developed in the first 3 years. You've seen infants, especially Desi infants. Like they're choking, and they're looking at, the sky, thinking, God, why? God, why? We've all been there because we were packed in those duffels by our mommies. And now our wives are doing it to our kids. So let loose the child. Let him tell you, Mommy, it's cold. He's going to say, don't worry. Or Mommy, it's too hot. When he says that, dress him accordingly. Mommy, I'm hungry. Feed him. Mommy, I'm sleeping. Let him sleep. Under 7, your job is to facilitate the body. That's it. I'm not going to go much in detail because that's not the point. So if you play with the machine is going to stop playing with us. Okay? Gee, anybody else, any questions before we jump into? We shouldn't have opened this slide yet, eh? This is for the session here. Gee, anybody else?